What if I told you this car once made people stop talking mid-sentence, just to listen to it idle? Not because it was loud, not because it was fast, but because it had presence. This is the Pontiac, from a time when cars didn't just move you. They announced you, and there's something about it that modern cars simply cannot recreate. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. First, imagine America in the early 1950s. The war is over. Cities are growing. Highways are expanding. And families want more than transportation. They want pride. They want style. They want something that feels permanent. That's where this Pontiac steps in. Long, wide, confident, built like it expected to outlive its owner. But here's the interesting part. Pontiac wasn't trying to be the cheapest. It wasn't trying to be the fastest. It was trying to be something else. Respectable. And that subtle ambition shaped everything about this car. The design wasn't aggressive. It was dignified. Rounded fenders, flowing lines, chrome that didn't scream. It shimmered. The kind of car that could pull up to a church, a courthouse, or a family picnic and somehow belong everywhere. But don't mistake elegance for weakness. Under that long hood sat one of Pontiac's most trusted. Engines, smooth, durable, reliable, in a way that made road trips feel safe. And in the 1950s, that mattered more than top speed, because back then distance felt bigger. Driving from one city to another wasn't casual. It was an event. And this Pontiac made that event feel calm, stable, unhurried. And here's something most people don't realize. The real luxury wasn't horsepower. It was silence. That smooth inline engine didn't roar. It hummed. The kind of hum that lets you have a conversation without raising your voice. The kind that makes long drives feel shorter. And speaking of long drives, wait till you hear this. Inside, you didn't get bucket seats hugging you tight. You got a wide bench seat. Soft, spacious, almost like a living room sofa on wheels. Why? Because families sat together, kids in the middle, parents on either side. No center console dividing anyone, just shared space. It's a small detail, but it says a lot about the era. Cars were social spaces, and that big steering wheel, thin rim, wide diameter. It wasn't about sportiness. It was about leverage, smooth turns, gentle control, the kind that makes you feel like you're guiding the car, not wrestling it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Pontiac at this time was quietly building a reputation. Not flashy, not rebellious, but dependable. A brand for people who had made it. Not rich, not reckless, just established. And this car reflects that mindset perfectly. Look at the chrome accents. Carefully placed, not overwhelming. The grille design, bold but symmetrical. The badge lettering, scripted, confident. Every detail whispers the same message. I don't need to prove anything. Not just physical weight, emotional weight. When you close the door on a 1950s Pontiac, it doesn't click. It thuds. Solid, reassuring, like shutting the door of a safe. Modern cars focus on efficiency, light materials, digital screens, instant torque. This Pontiac focused on longevity. It was built to be repaired, maintained, passed down, and many were. There are stories of these cars surviving decades. Cross-country moves, family milestones, first dates, hospital trips, graduation rides, even weddings. It wasn't just transportation. It was a witness. And let me tell you something else most people overlook. The trunk. Back then, road trips meant luggage, picnic baskets, spare tools, sometimes even a full extra tire. And this Pontiac had the space for it. Real space, practical space, because utility mattered. But here's the twist. Despite its calm personality, Pontiac wasn't afraid of identity. That iconic hood ornament, that split grille styling, those subtle performance undertones. They hinted at something more. Something that would later evolve into the muscle car era. Yes, this peaceful family cruiser carries the DNA of future legends. GTO, Firebird, Trans Am. But this car came first. It laid the foundation. And that's what makes it special. It represents the bridge between two worlds. The post-war optimism of the 1940s and the horsepower wars of the 1960s. Now think about that for a second. When this Pontiac rolled off the line, television was still new. Highways were expanding. Rock and roll hadn't exploded yet, and yet here it stands, decades later, still commanding attention. Why? Because true design ages differently. The curves don't feel outdated. They feel intentional. The chrome doesn't feel excessive. It feels celebratory. This was an era when cars had personality, not touchscreens. Not software updates, personality. And maybe that's why people are drawn to them today, in a world that moves too fast. This car reminds us of steady movement. In a world obsessed with performance numbers, it reminds us of comfort. In a world of disposable products, it reminds us of permanence. And here's something that might surprise you. Driving one of these today doesn't feel like stepping back in time. It feels like slowing down time. You become more aware, more patient, more connected to the machine. You feel the road. You anticipate turns. You respect momentum. It demands attention and gives character in return. That relationship between driver and car, that's fading in modern vehicles. But not here. Here, every start of the engine feels mechanical, honest, real, and maybe that's the magic. This Pontiac doesn't overwhelm you with speed or technology. It invites you in. It says, take your time. And maybe that's why, even surrounded by newer, faster, louder cars, it still holds its ground. Not by shouting, but by standing, steady, polished, confident. A reminder that style doesn't need aggression. That strength doesn't need noise. That legacy doesn't need explanation. And the next time you hear someone say old cars are outdated, just remember this one, because sometimes the quietest car in the room has the longest story to tell.